Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Reflections on Interpretation, Talking Story with Guides and Interpreters. This is a little different kind of a presentation. I'm on with the founder of this podcast, Tim Merriman, and he's got some interesting questions, and it probably would be better if I were to ask him those questions rather than he just sort of spit them out. So, Tim, we're talking today about the HERT interpretive training concept. And of course, this is something that you've developed, although you and your wife Lisa had a lot to do with other interpretive training, like the interpretive certification for CIG. But you're training trainers now with a new curriculum, which is based around the heart model. When did that start, and why did you decide to do that?
Well, actually, Bill, it started a decade ago or so. Lisa and I originally were hired through USAID to do training in Rwanda with Nyungwe National Park. And the first time we did it, they wanted the Certified Interpretive Guide program through NAI. We did that. Thereafter, they were unwilling to pay the amount of money, even at the lower fee it was at then. And part of it is that uh, I can tell you as former executive director of NAI, very hard to service a member in East Africa. Mail from here to there is expensive, doesn't work as well. So when you try to ship products, it doesn't work as well. So I understand their reasoning. So they asked us to come up with our own program, and we remodeled it around a different acronym, HEART. I actually had done nothing with it until last October. And when I saw the price changes coming with the CIG program and they dropped the credential, it was no longer a certification, it was a certificate course. I started thinking about what do the 500,000 people in the United States do who are docents, part-time, seasonal, just giving interpretation a try at a park as a volunteer. How do they get training that they can afford? And I think the answer is they need something that is maybe not as many hours as 32, which is the CIG requirement, and that is less costly. So I looked at how I could remodel the hard acronym that we were using in East Africa. So this is not that course. Over there, we actually train with a hybrid of the host and the guide course because we're training in the same classroom with front desk attendants who register people to take hikes. We're training with restaurant workers or with gift shop workers. And so we kind of hybridize the two.
Well, I mean, I've had the pleasure of taking both CIG from you and the Heart course from you. So this is something that I think I can kind of respond to. My next question is, what does HEART, Heart, stand for, and how'd you come up with that?
First of all, we did what everybody does who uses an acronym. We were looking for a word that by itself spoke to the trainee and to the trainer. And we always say, we're trying to make it intellectual and emotional connections with our audience. Intellectual thinking of the mind, emotional thinking, what we as humans always refer to as heart. Because actually, when we're excited, our heartbeat increases. We do all sorts of things that show that great attention, and our heart's a part of that. So we thought that was memorable. But acronym stands for holistic. Kind of, are we giving people the big picture? It's okay to talk about termite mounds or to talk about bluebirds, but are we letting them know how those fit in with the bigger world? And engaging, I went with engaging rather than enjoyable because there's a lot of stories we tell, enslavement of people in the United States, genocide in Rwanda, the Holocaust in Europe, and they're not cheery stories. I don't think I seek them out because they're enjoyable. I seek them because I want to understand and I want a deeper appreciation for the kind of the tragedies that people have been through and
Mhm.
what that does to them as individuals and thinking about the past. So engaging is that how do I get your mind engaged? And Sam Ham always points out that in interpretation, we're trying to get people to think more deeply about something. So engagement is thinking, and if you're giving a memorized spiel, you're just lecturing people for them to just tune out. And then A is for appropriate. And that's because one of our principles in our art program is every audience is different, and I should not be giving them the same program I gave the last audience. I should be asking them questions and starting a conversation and making what I say appropriate to that group of individuals in front of me. A group of visiting professors of history is a different group than a bunch of families from local communities that just came out of
Mhm.
curiosity. Rewarding. And we use that kind of as getting at purposeful, that it should be rewarding for the organization we work for, mission oriented. And then ideally, our guest is getting what they came there for. And we've asked them to some degree why they're there. And so we're actually making it more personal for them. And then the other part is we're making it rewarding for ourselves.
Well,
And
it makes a lot of sense, and of course, I think that engaging is much, much better than sort of entertaining, which can take you down a very awkward path.
well, yeah, we joke about interpretainment that at times I've seen programs that I thought, well, that was kind of fun. I'm not sure what the message was.
Right.
And I don't know what the agency gets out of someone just being entertaining. Then the last part is the more older tradition. This certainly goes back as far back as Sam Ham's training, and before him, Bill Lewis, who did a lot of early Park Service training, and the Harpers Ferry Training Center. And that's thematic, that there's some central message that gets people to think, and that all of the talking points, the examples, the illustrations tie into that theme.
Gotcha. Well, we know that, it's been 25 years since you and Lisa came up with CIG. What makes Heart and CIG different?
They're similar in that the basics of interpretation didn't come with the CIG program. They've been taught very expertly by people like Bill Lewis, a variety of trainers around the country. I don't presume that we invented interpretation. Park Service was doing an incredible job with their interpretive development program back in the earlier part of the 21st century. And we've talked a lot about Dave Larson and Dave Dowland and the good Mike Watson, the good people at Harpers Ferry Center and what they did. So the principles are the principles. I think what makes this different, first of all, is that we've modernized it. We're talking about artificial intelligence and how do you use it? And it gets a little pushback. There are people that go, well, artificial intelligence, people have to know how to do this without using a computer, don't they? Well, the answer is sure, but I can use a computer. I'm using it right now. And
Right?
I don't think it's evil inherently. So uh, if I could spend 15 minutes putting together the framework of a new program or a new tour using I can spend the 2.5 or 3 hours I might have spent in the past on that, doing the same thing, practicing it, thinking about interactivity. How do I do more to make this hands-on, make it multisensory? And I think that's critical. First of all, I think the young people that we're training are using AI. And if we don't use it as a trainer, they wonder why we've skipped the most current technology available. And we're going to do it an old-fashioned way because we like it. And I like the
Gotcha.
idea. Yeah, I like the idea I can develop a theme out of my head without going to the computer. But I have to tell you, when I use I usually come up with a better idea.
That's a great reason to use it.
Yeah. I think about the other benefits of this program is we really focus on program scope objectives. And I don't think the details are there in the CIG program on that. We think it's critical that you be able to evaluate your program right at the end of it and know that it actually accomplished some of your objectives.
So Tim, my next question is sort of how would a person listening to this broadcast, for instance, become a trainer under the Heart model?
Well, it's pretty simple. First of all, anybody who's a certified interpretive trainer with NAI already has had some experience. This gives them another curriculum to work with, or I'm fine with them pulling the AI model component out of this and using it in a CIG course, or I'm fine with them using activities they've developed with their CIG curriculum in a heart course. I think the heart's an alternative in that CIG is fairly inflexible in that it's introduced as a 32-hour course. It uses a manual that is set. I've designed this manual so you can take it apart. If you don't like page 16 to 20 because it's not a segment you want to teach and you want to add 8 other pages, you can do that. You don't have that flexibility with any other manual that I know of. A number of hours. I reduced some of the material from what we originally developed for CIG because we put in some redundancy that was, we felt it was important back in 2000 when we were starting this to get buy-in from the federal agencies, from the other trainers that were out there using other books like Knudsen, Cable, and Beck's good book on interpretation, or Cable and Beck, or Gross and Zimmerman. So we attempted to put material in there that, and from Sam Ham's books that people would recognize from all the different resources. And that worked. CIG very much became a brand. I guess I'm hoping a brand of its own for being more concise. You can deliver it in 16 to 20 hours. A trainer can set the amount of money they want to charge for it. They can still issue a certificate. Certificate is a piece of paper that recognizes X number of hours of training and the trainer who did it.
Well, I've used the heart program several times now since you and I last were in class on it, and I find it to be flexible. I find it to be thoughtful. But one of the things I liked about the curricula as I took the class is that you're already relying on people to have some structure and some experience with interpretive training. It's not like you're trying to create something for the newbie. You're trying to take people who've already got some basis and help them go to a new place with it.
That's true. I just see those as being the new adopters. I would say I'm okay with somebody coming in who's taken the CIG course, for instance, or a heart course from someone else, and taking this to become a trainer.
What rights do the students have to use and manipulate the material, the manual, and other documents after they've taken the course?
Good question. As you know, when I first delivered it, I deliver it sending you PDF files of the manual, the trainer's handbook, and any of the activities we do. But after the 3 days, the 4-hour modules, that's 12 hours of training, I send you by Dropbox all of the training materials in their original Microsoft Office software. So literally, you can create your own manual. And I'm okay with you putting your name on it, as long as you keep mine on it. I think
Right.
I'm looking for honest attribution. If I use material you developed, I say that. If you use material I developed, you say that.
That's great. Well, now to kind of back up a little bit, do you have to be a CIT already to take this course?
You do not. One of the things I always ask people is let me know if you have not had that more extensive training experience. But as you know, Park Service trains people, sometimes using CIG, but sometimes using their own interpretive development program or modules they've developed, or people take the online courses that are available. I think it's good to have some background before you take the heart course. And I'm willing to spend more time with you after the course if you need coaching.
That's great. Well, I can tell you that I've been working with parks that are more and more relying on volunteers who don't have 32 hours in a row to spend. And of course, they're hurting for money, especially at the federal level right now. So I've found Heart to be extremely useful, flexible, and able to help people understand things that they may not have understood before.
Yeah, I taught it as a regular class to guides here in Hawaii last year. And I taught it in 16 hours. And I taught it via Zoom. It can be taught face to face. And I think face to face is always better. In teaching it for 16 hours, I charged $250.
The CIG is like $600 now.
Right. Yeah. And as a trainer with CIG course, I get $275 for 32 hours. So for roughly double the number of hours. So
Wow.
actually, I think a freelance trainer can make a good, reasonable profit for the amount of time that they invest. But the other piece that I think is vital is that you can go back into that manual and make it what you want it to be.
That's great.
Am I fair in saying to you that you get requests to do an 8 hour course?
I get requests, but I make it 16 at least.
Okay. You get
Yeah,
requests to include living history.
absolutely. And I've been able to make it work in that way. So yeah, absolutely true.
And
And of course, I would love more time, but budget and people's time are limiting factors. And, COVID has brought us this kind of technology, which has been great. You're using AI, which is another kind of modern technology. So, nothing's perfect. I would love to have, 40 hours, but that's not going to happen in the modern world. So, this is a really great way to get under the door when there are other things blocking it shut. What are the future plans for the program generally?
for the next year or two, I'm going to stay purely with the heart curriculum. My expertise is in this core area. Lisa, of course, will do interpretive planning training if someone wants it, but they have to contact her and arrange that. And she needs at least three or more people to be in the class to do that. As far as what I might do, I still occasionally train guides myself, and I use the heart modules to do that. And as you know, we just returned from a month in Rwanda where we were training in 2 national parks. Now, I have to tell you, we developed an entirely different variation using the heart model, but different from everything you were given here for them because it's proprietary. We wanted it to be theirs and to own it and be able to use it, and it's out there as well. Um,
Well, plus you made that there were elements, I'm guessing, that were culturally specific to Rwanda as well.
Absolutely. We were certainly using their examples. We developed a series of videos that went with it, which I think makes sense. And
Mm.
I might develop video modules that go with this in the future. That would be um, about the limit of how I plan to change it in the near term. The other thing I'm doing is trying to up my understanding of AI and the various AI tools so that every time I do the course, it's a little better, a little deeper in that area.
So I'm guessing, Tim, that what people need to know if they want to take the heart course and become a heart certified trainer, if it will, they need to contact you.
Yeah, and the simple thing is to go to heartfeltassociates.com/training.
Tell me what you see as some of the major positive aspects of this particular course, given the place we find ourselves in the world, budgets, people, volunteers, and other sort of administrative realities.
Well, I think the big thing is that it's open source. If you're a CIT training with the CIG program, you're confined to their resources and their program. I'm suggesting that a state park system can make this very adapted using their policies and their specialized components that they add. A museum or zoo or a historic site can make it very well adapted to their resource. And it's just a lot more flexible. And they can own it. I am fine with you training other trainers, taking the material.
Wow.
Well, I'm practical about it. You know what? If there's Tom Medema told me during an interview with him when he was chief of interpretation for National Park Service that before the pandemic there were 300,000 interpretive volunteers with Park Service. It's dropped to 120,000, but that means there's still really
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of people that like being the front line
Yeah.
talking about natural or cultural history.
Well, in terms of that, I'm one of those people. I am still a registered volunteer with the national parks.
Well, and I want as many trainers on the ground out there as possible working with those people. And I don't have to make money off the future of this. I am semi-retired, as you and I claim to be. And I'm just happy to see my profession grow and be available to more people.
Outstanding. Anything else you want to add for the good of the cause?
Only that it's a $200 course. I think that's affordable. And I'm July 7th to 9th is my next course. I will be doing another one in September, but July 7 to 9, 8 to 12 a.m. Hawaii time. So whatever that is in your time zone via Zoom.
That's great.
And if somebody wants an in-person course, it adds the expense of me getting to your site. I'd be happy to do that, but it certainly is more expensive. And just
Gotcha.
contact me, Tim F. Merriman at gmail.com. Tim F. Merriman, Merriman at gmail.com. And I'm happy to fill in the blanks.
Well, Tim, thanks for being a guest on your own show.
Thanks for being a co-host. That's wonderful to work with every single time we do it. And I
Yes,
want
we
to
agree.
give a little advance promotion. You and I are going to do a special tribute to David Larson for those people that know what
Yes, we are.
an extraordinary trainer he was. And unfortunately, his life was cut short by illness. But we want to bring back some of the memories of that gentleman. Thank you for joining Bill and I today on here for a little promotion. Please, if you want to call me, I'm 808-854-3555 or text me and I'll be happy to answer questions or timfmerriman at gmail.com. But thanks for joining us today. In 2 weeks, we will be talking about David Larson and his absolutely amazing training and some of the things he left with us. We'll be training with, I think, forever. I want to thank Mark Stoffel for his beautiful mandolin music.